Hello to the mothers and daughters from the National Charity League. I am so happy to be here with you today, but disappointed that we can't be together in person. When we're attending live events again, we will have a greater appreciation for one another than ever before. I imagine one huge hugging fest. Growing up with an Italian family of huggers, that's one of the things that I miss the most. Remember this, you have experienced challenges that would have been difficult for any generation of teenagers before you. I don't know how I would have handled this. You have learned so much from this experience. The most important thing is that you never forget those lessons. Carry them forward in your life. You have learned to overcome unexpected challenges. Our greatest challenges provide us with the most important life lessons. They give us inner strength. Think of the resilience that you have developed. At this point in time, you are unstoppable. I love that you have embraced the mission of the 3 pillars of the National Charity League: philanthropy, leadership, and culture. Through this mission, you are laying the foundation for a future full of possibilities. Every small step you take is a step towards a bright and satisfying future. As a woman who has been running my own company for 26 years and who is never afraid to go for it, I love to empower and inspire young women. I want to embolden you to think of all the amazing possibilities that lie ahead for you as I share my nuggets for success throughout this half hour. I want you to achieve the highest height, but most importantly, live a quality of life that brings you great personal satisfaction. Life is about balance. Happiness is a mindset. You can choose to look at life through a positive lens or a negative one. Hanging in my office is the quote, "Life is 1% what happens to you and 99% attitude." When the times get bad, draw strength and resilience from the positive things around you. We all experience challenges in our lives. How we navigate them separates those who struggle from those who thrive. For me, living with gratitude provides perspective in my life. I draw strength from my gratitude for family and dear friends who have been there for me in tough times. I think about people in this country who are hungry or living in poverty. In other parts of the world, many are hungry. They don't have adequate shelter or clean water, or they live in a war zone. I never take the little things in my life for granted. For instance, I turn on my faucet and water runs out. My friend Jen Ellsworth volunteered to raise money to build wells for the Maasai who live in Africa. They were walking 8 miles a day for water. Through Jen's experience, I learned not to take this day-to-day convenience for granted. Things are different for your generation of women. For my generation, we had to push through many barriers to get to where we are today. Women do not have the same options for career or leadership opportunities. Are we where we should be? Not yet. Women are not making equal pay on the dollar as men, but I'm happy to say that today, more women are serving in government and leadership roles in business and corporations. We want to keep increasing those numbers. I hate to say this, but here in my home, I'm the only female except for the one cat. What have I learned from that? Women approach things differently. We see the big picture. We're really good at multitasking and juggling a lot of things in our lives. Imagine what it's going to be like when we have even more women leading. I came from a home of very modest means, and I was raised to play it safe. Eventually, I taught myself to push past that mindset. Never did I imagine that one day I would be owning my own business and speaking across the country. The best thing about professional speaking? I was the queen of punish assignments in school. I never shut up. I always had to write, "I will not talk in class," 100 times. Now I have revenge on my teachers. I am paid to talk. As women, we often pressure ourselves to achieve personal success early in life because we bear the children. I remember thinking, if I don't accomplish my professional goals by the time I have kids, that's it for my career advancement. Well, life happens while you make other plans. Turns out, my best career as a professional speaker did not begin until I was 40 years old. I have learned that we have plenty of time to reinvent ourselves, to try new things, strive for new goals, and seek opportunities over our lifetime. Never let age define you or become a barrier. I am 66 years old and I am still dreaming of new goals. I'm writing a book on aging well. I have a children's book in the works, and one day I would like to perform a one-woman show. Be patient. Good things come with a slow and steady approach. One important thing, find a partner who's going to allow you to be you. A person who is emotionally secure enough to let you soar. A person who is willing to support your dreams, not squelch them. I could not have accomplished what I have done over the past 26 years without the support of my husband and my best friend, Jeff. My journey as a speaker began after losing my mom and stepdad to AIDS-related complications. I vowed to speak out to prevent others from experiencing the same pain and loss that touched my family twice. The most painful experience of my life took me to the most gratifying. We make choices. We can take negative events and turn them into positive. I could have swept this under the rug and never would have healed as well as I have. But I chose to turn my experience into a mission. Shortly after my mom's death, I reached out to the Bucks County Department of Health, and they started to bring me into the schools. I volunteered to speak to anyone who would listen, working with doctors, nurses, social workers. Over the course of 19 years, I volunteered for hundreds of classes in the Central Bucks elementary and high schools. It grew from there. After speaking for 2 years, I decided to reach out to Delaware Valley University. The Dean of Students hired me to provide a training, and he loved my program. Now, here is where a life-changing event and important learning experience happened to me. Connect with people around you, not just within your tight social circle. The power of connection is so much stronger than we ever imagined. There was a study from Stanford University that analyzed weak ties within our social networks and how people lead us to new opportunities. Ironically, most career opportunities are not from close friends and family. The study titled "The Strength of Weak Ties" addressed the value of people who we do not know all that well, those incidental relationships that impact our careers. More than 3/4 new jobs or opportunities come from contacts who we only see occasionally. Now, back to my story. Jay Wright, that Dean of Students who first hired me, who I only knew for 2 hours, provided me with the greatest career transformation of my life. After the program, he sat me down in his office and he asked, "Do you have a speaking agent?" I looked at him and I said, "No." And then he told me that there were people who make a living on the college circuit. I had no idea. Jay spent days mentoring me, helping me find an agent, helping with publicity and demo reels. I was then catapulted onto the national speaking circuit. I never would have achieved this level of success without Jay. He directed me on a completely different career path, which enhanced my family's quality of life. People like to help others. Pay attention to those incidental connections. You never know where they can take you on your professional journey. Reach higher than you ever imagined and network fearlessly. Don't be afraid to ask for help or for a referral. What's the worst that can happen? You have a 50-50 chance of a yes or a no. If you don't ask, you will never hear that yes. Relationships matter. I became good friends with the team psychologist at the New York Giants after my first time working for them, and I asked her for a contact at the NFL. She gave me the name of a woman named Angela. I called Angela knowing that this was a reach. She asked me to send an outline of my curriculum. I did not hear anything for 3 weeks. When her email response finally dropped in, I was literally sitting in front of my computer. I looked at it and I said, "I don't want to open it. I don't want to open it," because I knew that it was a message of rejection. I reluctantly opened it, and the message read, "I really liked your curriculum. I'm wondering if you might be able to come in to us in New York and do a mock presentation for our group." 50-50 chance? I got the yes. I remember standing in the room at the NFL League office in New York, where I was just about to present a virtual training session for the team clinicians. I looked out the window down onto Park Avenue, and I thought to myself, geez, if my friends could see me now, little old Elaine, who grew up on Gertrude Street in Clark, New Jersey. This was never a place that I imagined that I would be. Be brave. Go for it. The possibilities are limitless. With hard work, passion, and determination, you can achieve the dreams that you never imagined you would. Now, while we love to celebrate success, I think it's equally important to talk about disappointment and rejection. We all experience it. It's part of life. How we handle it is another thing. Think about this. Who is your worst enemy? It's you. We can really beat ourselves up with that negative talk in our heads. I know plenty of people who sell themselves short because they're afraid to take risk. Their fear of rejection sacrifices the ability to gain new opportunities. Anytime I was rejected, which has been plenty, I picked myself up, dusted myself off, and said, to heck with them. And I pushed forward in a new direction. Never give up on yourself. If you are good at what you do, and you have passion, and most importantly, you believe in yourself, you will continually find new opportunities. It's not easy. This year has been difficult for so many, including myself. In March of last year, every speaking engagement that I worked so hard to book canceled. Over the course of 26 years, I've reinvented myself and expanded my expertise to remain fresh and relevant. This year, my business model changed to virtual. The learning curve was steep. Perfecting the technical setup in my home, learning editing skills, I had to develop skills to engage and connect with people as I'm looking through the lens of a camera, rather than hearing them laugh or seeing them smile in front of me. It's a completely different energy and a way of presenting. Why did I do all of this? Because I love what I do and I'm not ready to walk away from it yet. Failure is a word that we should embrace, not fear. It's part of life and learning. We learn from our mistakes. I've always said it's a mistake if you do it twice. Sometimes our greatest lessons and pivots in life come from our failures. Many well-known, successful people talk about their past failures. They never gave up. Failure helps us to develop the skills to deal with challenges in our lives. I have learned my greatest life lessons from my failures and tough times than I have from my triumphs. The bad times have created a greater appreciation for the good. We all get second chances. In 2011, my son shared an apartment in New York City with a guy named Mike Buckwich. Mike was that kid in middle school who had no interest in education. There were days when they could not even get him out of bed to go to school. And in fact, Mike's principal came to their house twice to urge him to get out of bed. Mike dropped out of high school in his sophomore year, and eventually he got his GED. And he worked as a roofer. At 21 years of age, at 5:45 in the morning, he remembers his life-transforming moment. He was climbing up a ladder behind a fellow worker who was 60 years of age. With every step that that man took, he moaned in pain. Mike thought to himself, is this what I want out of the rest of my life? He put himself through community college and he excelled through hard work. He was then accepted and received scholarships to study neuroscience at NYU. That's an amazing feat. From there, he went to Harvard University as a PhD candidate and in its neuroscience program. He is presently working in their lab. Mike turned his life around because people gave him a chance and they mentored him. For all those who fail, failure is not forever. Do your inner work. Be mindful of self-care so you can carry on with strength and vitality. Prioritize your physical and mental health by turning to your body and overall well-being. Treat your body like it's a temple. It's the only one you've got. If you are good to it, it will be good to you, and there's your quality of life. If you don't have your health, everything is challenging. Good health is a choice that we make. The choice to put on sunscreen, to wear a hat, to eat a clean diet, Do not engage in substance abuse, and to keep moving through exercise. Our bodies are built to move. The more you move, the more youthful you will remain. Health has always been important to me. At this age, I do 30 push-ups a day. I run up my stairs instead of walk. I do squats when I blow dry my hair, leg lifts when I brush my teeth. My husband thinks I'm nuts. I lift weights. I walk a mile every day, hike, or garden for hours on the weekends. Many of my friends complain about feeling old, but I don't. I have more energy than people who are 30 years younger than me. Nurture your brain. Our brains are not meant to continually take in a steady stream of information. It's important to unplug from our devices so the brain can rest and recharge. Studies show that people who spend more time in nature are more creative and perform better at memory tasks. Nature heals the mind and the spirit. When I have a bad day, a walk makes me feel so much better. Central Bucks is the perfect area to connect with nature. There's fantastic hiking, lakes, the river, and overall natural beauty. Take it all in. One of your pillars is leadership. Be a leader with a heart. Lift others around you so they can feel comfortable to be themselves and express their ideas freely. Be kind. Sometimes girls can be tough. We find that with social media, bullying has reached new highs. Create empathy by putting yourself in someone's shoes before you say or post something on social media. It's easy for someone to type something mean when they can't see the hurt in the receiver's eyes. But it's important to remember that that person reads those words over and over again, continuing to feel the pain as if they were being read for the very first time. When you're on social media, hold someone's heart in your hands. A true leader sets an example for others. When we see leaders in the workplace who lead with a heart, the people who work for them are happier, more loyal, and they reciprocate with hard work. They feel comfortable to be their authentic selves and to bring their innovative ideas forward, which increases success. I am a member of National Speakers Association, and I belong to a community group called the Power Women of NSA. It has been remarkable to see the support that we provide to one another. Women should empower women. Be competitive with yourself and not with others. Social media has been your lifeline over the past year. It should enhance your life and make you feel good about yourself. We often see people posting about their fabulous lives, but they may not be so fabulous. We experience feelings of inadequacy or being left out. Through social media, it's easy to compare yourself to others, but destructive at the same time. I go through this constantly. Put your blinders on and run your own race. Again, be competitive with yourself and not with others. If you find that social media creates more negative feelings than positive, it's not a bad idea to take a break. Step away from it if you need to. Focus inward, not out. When you are socializing in person, be careful of cell phone addiction. Put your cell phones down and be present with the people around you. Over the years, I have seen a dramatic change in the way the students connect. Technology is a norm that hijacks heart-to-heart connection. Years ago, before my programs, students were sitting, talking, laughing. Now everyone's looking down at their phones. They don't talk much, but you know what's most notably missing? They are not smiling and laughing. I often say to them, no wonder why you feel so lonely. You're not talking to the people around you. Be confident. Be you. Don't let anyone intimidate you or your goals. Embrace your uniqueness. Life would be incredibly boring if we all looked and acted the same. I love the diversity that life has to offer. People of different color skin, nationalities, different ages, gender, social groups, and more. Celebrate those differences. High school and middle school can be a tough time socially. In my senior year, the cliques started to dissipate and everyone began to accept each other more and more. At my class reunions, the nerds are arm in arm with the football players. It's a beautiful thing. Let's talk about the pillar of culture. My grandfather was a poor Italian immigrant who settled in New Jersey, just outside of New York City. Our family gatherings were memorable. The food was out of the world. The conversations were lively and thick with beautiful Italian accents. After we ate dinner, we packed into his small living room and we listened to Puccini's operas, where my uncles translated the stories for us. Years later, as I attended many operas at New York Metropolitan Opera House, I came to realize that even though my grandpa was poor, he was so rich in culture. That was his gift to our family. Music is an integral part of my family's life. We have lots of musicians. My mom's great-grandfather, Anderson Vreeland, was a talented watercolorist, painting scenes from New York City and the surrounding areas. My mom won awards for her pastel paintings. Hence, the visual arts are also important to my family. Enrich your life through cultural experiences and share them with family and friends, or partake in them yourself. Enjoy and appreciate art through museums, theater, dance, and appreciate all types of music. Culture is a set of values and practices that creates meaning for our society, and it brings people together. It's a way to find common ground in spite of our differences. Some of our past presidents were known for promoting cultural diplomacy with foreign nations. They brought diverse people from different nations together to exchange ideas, information, art, music, and other facets of their culture to foster mutual understanding and peace. Through the pillar of philanthropy, you have promoted the welfare of others through community service. It's important for us to find a cause that's bigger than ourselves by helping others. I'm sure you walked away from a day of community service with a full heart. There is nothing more gratifying than knowing that you have made a difference in the lives of others. Giving without wanting is the greatest gift. Studies show that those who volunteer are happier with their lives. Your perspective of life, which is the way that you see things, constantly changes with new experiences. Reflect. What did you learn at the end of that day of volunteering? Take time to learn about the people that you are helping or the causes that you are volunteering for. Immersing yourself in that community will open your heart and your mind. 4 years ago, I was invited by the NBA to attend the All-Star Game in New Orleans. The NBA hosts a day of service during the All-Star weekend. 3 busloads of volunteers worked in one of New Orleans' poorest neighborhoods. We spent the day building fences, porches, handicap ramps, painting homes, and murals for a community garden. It was remarkable to see that neighborhood transform. When the work was completed, some of the neighbors came to us to express their gratitude. We talked for quite some time. I learned so much about their challenges and their day-to-day struggles. It provided me with greater compassion for them and a new perspective and gratitude of my life. When we talk to those who live different lives than we do, we can always find commonalities before we focus on the differences. In the end, there's more that unites us than divides us. We all want the same things out of life. As a member of National Speakers Association, I have met the most remarkable women. Many are my heroes. To me, a hero is not necessarily a famous person. They are ordinary people who push past their challenges and do extraordinary things to make a difference in the lives of others. Here are just a few of mine. Jean Crystal is the president of 10,000 Beds. After her son wrestled with heroin addiction, Jean and her husband sold their home, purchased a motorhome, and toured the country to help those struggling with all types of addiction. She obtains free scholarships for long-term rehab from treatment centers nationwide. Through her efforts, she has awarded more than $20 million in scholarships. A testament to her dedication, Jean was selected to introduce me as I was presenting a keynote for the National Speakers Association's National Convention. The night before, Jean and her husband were parked 3 hours south of Orlando, where our convention was being held. They were going to drive up early that morning so Jean could provide the introduction. At 1 a.m., a young man who was struggling with addiction saw their motorhome. He knocked on the door. Jean ended up sitting on the steps of that motorhome, and she talked to him for 3 solid hours. With very little sleep, they drove 3 hours to get Jean there just in time to present the introduction. That's dedication to a cause and dedication to a commitment that was made. My friend Dr. Ludy Green grew up in a home where her mother was the victim of domestic violence from her father. Her father was the Peruvian ambassador to France, and they lived in a lovely apartment in Paris. Ludy came to Washington, D.C. for college, and she volunteered for women's shelter. She then noticed a pattern. When women left the shelter, they went back home to the same abusive environment because they did not have the financial means to support themselves. Often, they returned back to the shelter. Ludy found Second Chance Employment Services, the first employment training and placement services agency for domestic violence victims. She has helped thousands of women gain their independence and has served under 5 U.S. presidents. Ludy is known internationally for her work to end domestic violence and violence against women and human trafficking. Kate Delaney is a close friend. We both are Jersey girls. As a woman who is trying to enter the world of sports journalism, she was handed hundreds of rejection slips. She never gave up and kept moving forward. Today, Kate is thriving. She is the host of a nationally syndicated radio show, America Tonight, which reaches 2.9 million listeners. As a host for CBS Sports Radio Network, Kate is one of the first women to ever host a solo sports radio talk show in a top 10 market. She is also a top business and motivational speaker and best-selling author. Most importantly, she is empowering women to push past that glass ceiling. Lastly, my mom, Elaine. I was always proud of her. She was stunningly beautiful with her red hair and lovely blue eyes. Most importantly, she was even more beautiful inside than she was out. Mom volunteered in schools, planted gardens for the garden club, and had a career in insurance. She taught me how to be a loving person and to put others' needs in front of my own. Despite her heartaches and challenges, she always put her children first. The day after she learned that she was HIV positive, she unexpectedly showed up at my front door, offering to lend us money for an expensive home repair that we unexpectedly incurred the day before. Now, I remember from when I was a teenager, we have those moments when we look at our moms, we roll our eyes, and we think to ourselves, my mom is so stupid. She's clueless. But I guarantee you, the older you get, the smarter your mom becomes. As time passes, you will appreciate your mom more than ever before. You will gain a profound appreciation for all the sacrifices that she has made for you. Your mom loves you and has done her best to guide you to be the finest young woman that you can be. Never forget the role model that she has been, or take for granted her continual quest to lay a solid foundation for you. Never forget the incredible experiences the two of you have shared through the National Charity League. Speaking of volunteering, sometimes we give, not realizing the full impact of our acts of kindness. We never know how that person might pay your act of kindness forward. I call it the ripple effect. I want to share a story of a young man named Jake Musau, who grew up with incredible challenges. He first saw me present at Georgia State University, where he played football. We met again when I trained him in his rookie season with the New York Giants, and we've been friends ever since. Jake grew up in L.A. His father was jailed twice for domestic violence. His mother has schizoid affective disorder. Jake was homeless, living in the back of a Windstar van with his mother and brother Louie. All their clothes were in boxes. They slept in different parks every single night before school, and they washed up in fountains or public bathrooms. His best meal of the day came through a government-assisted program in school. His father eventually got out of jail, and they moved to Phoenix. His father contracted throat cancer, and he died when Jake was only 13 years old. They were back to living in parks. When the same policemen discovered them 2 nights in a row, Jake and his brother were then taken into protective custody, and his mom to a battered women's shelter. Jake and his brother had nothing. A generous man took them in, and for the first time, he felt the true love of family. Jake and his brother started to play football, and they thrived. He played for Georgia State and was drafted by the New York Giants. Football saved his life, but most notably, the man who took him in saved his life. Jake was injured in his first season in summer camp with the Giants, and he had to sit that year out. He then trained really hard to rehabilitate, and the Giants took him back the following year. He worked hard all summer long, and the day before the first game, he was cut by the team. The level of disappointment was tremendous. He played for the Canadian Football League, and then he came back to the States. Jake enrolled in school, and he is working on a dual degree, a master's in sports psychology and a doctoral in developmental psychology. He's also working in mental health. Jake wants to give back to those who helped him in his journey along the way. This is the ripple effect. When you lift a person up, they pay it forward, and they will lift others. One thing before I close. Once you're in my audience, you are part of my family. Feel free to reach out to me, Elaine@ElainePasqua.com. If you know anyone looking for a speaker, send them my way. I always love to talk. As I leave you, I want you to think about the person that you are today. In 10 years, you will have a different perspective and priorities. It will change through the decades. What you want to do is look back on your life with great satisfaction. Don't be afraid to work hard. If you love what you do, it will not feel like work. My friends worry about me when they see the hours that I dedicate to my work. They just don't understand how full my heart is when I walk off that stage. Those are the moments when I say to myself, I can't believe I get paid to do this. If you discover your passion first, the money will follow. Embrace life and live it with a positive attitude. The great classic pianist Arthur Rubinstein said, I found that if you love life, life will love you back. Be curious. Keep learning about new ideas, people, and places. Live life to its fullest and enjoy every moment of it. Thank you all. It was such a pleasure to be with you, and I wish you all the best moving forward in your lives.